need it. Okay? All right, so boundaries is where you begin and where you end. Attachment is how you emotionally connect in a relationship. Okay? It's how you emotionally connect in a relationship. Okay? And it's the emotional bonds that you are used to build those blocks of a relationship. Okay? So how do the two intertwine? Well, first and foremost, the way that you emotionally bond in a relationship, whether it is, and the 4 attachment styles, right? I'm going to go into that in a second. How you emotionally bond is also going to affect how you are going to also hold your boundaries. If you don't feel safe, okay, if you don't feel safe to create safe emotional bonds with people, you're not going to feel safe to be able to make effective boundaries. So I'm going to break it down for you in the 4 attachments, how they deal with boundaries. Okay, remember, boundaries is where you begin and where you end. And when we're talking about attachment, it's your emotional connection, how you emotionally bond with people in relationships. Okay, all right. So boundaries, first and foremost, I want to let you know, boundaries, okay, are not walls. Okay, boundaries are not walls, they are gates. You have to make it very, very clear. A wall is what we say is a very high fence, right? You build a very high wall. What that means is no one can get in. Fantastic, but you ain't getting out either. Okay, so when you have very high walls, we hear people say this all the time, my walls are up, my walls are up. Yeah, what they really mean is you ain't getting in, but they ain't getting out either. It means they can't also emotionally bond very well with people. And if you've got high walls, more than likely, you've got avoidant tendencies. You know why? Because if you've got high walls and no one can get in, guess what you're doing? Avoiding people. So you're probably going to have an avoidant tendency, very high walls. We're going to come on to this in a very second as well, okay? Right? Boundaries, okay, are not selfish, okay? It's about how you love yourself, okay? Boundaries are about how you love yourself and how you can love other people better. It's about being safe. It's about being respected. It's about being valued. If you heard me, I need you to type it in the chat. If you heard me, I need you to tap the screen. Boundaries is about being safe, about being respected. It's about being valued. Let me say it one more time for you, because if you heard me, I need you to keep tapping the screen. Boundaries is about being respected. It's about being valued. It is about being... Sorry about that. It's about boundaries, about respect. It's about value, and it's about your own truth here as well. Okay, all right. Safety, respect, and value. Okay, thank you for Zeke for tapping the checks. I don't forgot the word. All right, and boundaries are about how people are supposed to treat you. You're teaching people how to treat you. Your boundaries are about teaching people how to treat you. Now, when we link this to attachment styles, because of the way that people attach in relationships, they are teaching people how to treat them. Let me give you an example. Somebody who is an avoidant is teaching people to avoid them. They're teaching people that they need space, so leave me alone. Well, what do you expect? People are going to do what? Leave you alone, right? Okay. And then you have people who are anxious. Anxious people are telling you, I don't even have many walls. I don't even have many boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Just take advantage of me, because I'm here to be valued. I'm here to be served. You know, I'm here to serve. You know, I don't really have really good boundaries. Just take from me whenever you want, right? And then fearful avoidance are what we call hot and cold individual people. Inconsistent. Yesterday, tomorrow, no, right? You're not sure if you're coming or going with them. Boundaries all over the place. Boundaries get instituted when they're angry and when they're hurt and they lash out. But we'll talk about that in a second or two. Okay, so again, boundaries, there are several types of boundaries: emotional, physical, mental, spiritual. There are digital, sexual. Okay, there's about 7 different boundaries: emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, sexual, financial, and then digital. Okay, so all of these ways are about how you want to be treated. You're going to teach people how you want to be treated. Boundaries are very important. Here are some examples of healthy boundaries, what they sound like. No thank you is a good boundary. Okay, I need time to think about that is a good boundary. Okay, I don't feel comfortable with that is another example of a good boundary. That doesn't work for me is a good example of that. I'm available from this time to this time is a good example. This is what I need to feel safe is a good example, and actually one of the best examples. Because what do we say again? The three words are what? Boundaries are what? Safety, respect, and value. Say it with me again. Safety, respect, and value. Okay? Safety, respect, and value. Okay? SRV, baby. SRV. Safety, respect, and value. That is what your boundaries are about. Okay? All right? Here are some examples that your boundaries aren't boundaries. Okay? Here are some examples that your boundaries aren't really working very well. Here's an example. Okay? You feel drained, resentful, or anxious after interactions. You know when you get that phone call, you get the and you pick it up and you see the phone and you see the name and you're like, I don't like it. I'm not picking it up. That's an example that you're feeling anxious, annoyed, and probably stressed by that person who's calling you. You know why? Because you don't have good boundaries with them. Yeah, you are the problem. No, you're thinking about them. Okay, all right? You're thinking about them going, they're annoying, they call me, and they speak too long. Why do they speak too long? Because you don't give boundaries. And they're going to talk about their whole entire life. They're not going to ask me questions. Why are they not going to ask you questions? Because you don't actually tell them to ask you questions. You haven't told them they need to change. Oh, they're going to call me and they're going to ask me for money and I don't want to answer it. Why haven't you told them that you're not giving them no money no more? Why haven't you set the boundaries? Right? They're going to call me and I'm busy and I can't talk right now and dega. So why can't you just tell them, listen, I'm not available to talk right now. Call me in an hour's time or call me tomorrow. You are the problem. You're looking at them and thinking they're the problem. No, you're the problem. Nobody should have you on your phone that's calling you and you should be looking at it like, oh. Like your whole heart is dropped. You're whole scared. Your whole day's ruined. Why? You haven't got good boundaries. So if you feel drained, resentful, or anxious, that's a boundary issue. Okay? When you say yes, when you really mean no, that is a very bad boundary. You're not got good boundaries. Okay? Number 3, if you avoid conflict at all costs, you are a dodger. You are an avoider. You are a runner and a track star. You gonna run away when it gets hard. Then you are somebody who needs to work on those boundaries. If you let people cross lines to avoid being rejected, like you let people say whatever they want to say, do whatever they want to do, come in and go out or however you want us to go out because you don't feel comfortable. Yeah. You got bad boundaries. You got bad boundaries. Okay? You got bad boundaries. Okay? You struggle to express your needs clearly. If you can't express what you need, when I talk to them, my needs are never met. Have you told them? Have you conversed with them? Have you said it? Huh? Right? Have you told them? Have you told them that you need your needs meted? Have you told them? You haven't told them. If you haven't explained it to them, how are they supposed to know that you need it? What do we say? Closed mouths don't get what? All right? Closed mouths don't get what? Closed mouths don't get what? Thank you. Closed mouths don't get fed. If you don't want to speak up, you ain't going to get fed. So if you're not going to tell me what your needs are because you're afraid that your needs won't be met, of course not. You just confirmed the bias. You've literally just confirmed the bias. You just said that you are not going to get your needs are not going to get met. So I'm not going to tell them. Well, how did you think? Did you think? So what do you think? They're going to read your mind? You just confirmed your bias. See, this is what I'm trying to say. This is why my needs don't get met. Well, yeah, because you didn't say anything and you didn't discuss it. You didn't let people know. So how are they gonna meet your needs? And you're like, you should just know. Now, if you are one of those people that are gonna tell people that they should just know, I'm gonna need you to take a sip of water. Okay? If you are one of those people, my lip is still dry. I need that extra sip. If you're one of those people that are gonna tell people they should just know. I know about you. How can you don't know for me? I always know what you want. I always know what you need. Yeah. Just because you're hyper vigilant and just because you're hyper paying attention to people doesn't mean everyone else does that. Okay? If you're not willing to explain what you need, I don't want to have to explain what I need because if I say it, then you're gonna do it, and then it doesn't feel right. If you're one of those people, I'm gonna tell you now, stop it. Okay? You got boundary issues. Okay? Yeah, but if I tell them, then they go and do it, then what's the point? The point is you're going to get your needs met. Don't complain when you don't get your needs met. When you're not willing to tell people. You're not willing to have a conversation. You're not willing to let people know that this is what you need from them. That's a you issue. You need to work on that. Okay? Don't blame anybody else. That's a you issue. Okay? All right, this is exactly what we talk about in coaching. When I'm coaching clients, I'm not trying to be hard on anybody. I want you to understand that coaching for me is different from therapy. I'm not here to therapize you. I'm here to get you to another point. I'm here to coach you. So we're going to uproot all the things that we've been doing badly, and we're going to start implementing good things to do. That's my job. My job is to take you from A to Z. I want to see you healed. I don't need to see you. I don't want you in my practice sitting there for weeks and months on end. We want you to get results. Okay? All right? So boundaries, they are here to protect your peace. It helps you promote mutual respect. It's about preventing emotional burnout. It helps you feel more confident and secure in your relationships. When you institute boundaries, you now know who's a taker and who's a giver. When you institute boundaries, you now know, oh, so I said no, and you're still pushing me. You're a coercive person. You were dangerous in my life. Actually, I realize now you're the kind of person I don't need in my life. You see, you can get rid of people because you now know what your boundaries are. Once you know that you don't want to do something and you say no, and they make you feel guilty for it, oh, so you don't want to do it. But when I was doing it for you, sorry, I've said no. I've said no. Why are you now pushing me? Why are you now trying to manipulate me? Right? I've said no. You know what I'm saying to you? And you're still pushing me. You're coercing me. Stop it. I don't want to be coerced. Right? And that's the whole point. Now you can really see people for what they are. Now I need to leave you alone because you are coercive and you're manipulative. Okay? All right? So understand that. All right? Cool. All right. So let's get into attachment styles again. Let's get into what we're talking about today. Attachment styles, linking it to boundaries, okay? Like I said before, attachment styles is simply the emotional bonds, okay, between emotional bonds and relationship between people, okay? All right? The emotional bonds and relationship between people. And again, attachment styles was something that was birthed by John Bowlby. He's a British psychologist, and he did a work watching how young children dealt with separation anxiety. Because I want to tell you something. Attachment styles is all about how you deal with anxiety. It's about how you deal with the stress of anxiety. That's how we get attachment styles. Secure people are emotionally resilient and regulated enough to deal with anxiety. But the other three, avoidant, dismissive avoidant, fearful avoidant, and anxious preoccupied, all deal with anxiety in different ways. They deal with separation anxiety in different ways, right? And so the dismissive avoidant person goes avoidant when they feel there's anxiety. The fearful avoidant flips between hot and cold when it comes to anxiety and stress. And the anxious person goes to cling when there is anxiety in a relationship. What is that anxiety? Separation. Right? So everybody's dealing with anxiety, and they deal with it in a particular way when it comes to their attachment styles. Okay? All right? So let's look at this now and go into the individual parts. Okay? All right? Secure attachment, again. Secure attachment is people who have grown up in households, okay, where their needs were met. They were in a household where the parents were consistent. They were in a household where their parents loved them. They were in a household where they were allowed to have autonomy and allowed to be able to be free to express themselves. They grew up in a household where their parents supported them emotionally, physically, mentally, financially. They supported them in all these aspects. This is, and a secure attachment is somebody who grew up in a household where when they told their parents about their school project, the parent got behind them. Right? Secure people grew up in households where they said, Mom, I have a teacher-parent conference day. The parent came. They grew up in a household where they told their parents, I got a sports day, and one of the parents, at least one of the parents, would be there, right? And they grew up in a household where they told their parents what their grades were, and the parents said, we were proud of you. They grew up in a household where the parents were saying, do you know what? We don't want you to suffer. Yes, we want you to learn lessons, but we're going to support you. We might put some money down for you financially to help you out. Oh, we're going to give you chores, but we're going to pay you for those chores, right? Oh, we might give you pocket money, but it comes with responsibility. Yes, you can tell me about your day, but you're not going to disrespect me, right? There are boundaries that was instituted. So people who grew up in secure households, they had the backing of their parents. Do you know those kind of parents where you go into their house and they sit down and they have a meal together? Those households where you go into and everything's neatly arranged. You go into their bedroom and they've moved out, but the parents still have the bedroom as it was when they left. Right? I'm making jokes, but the reality is you go into this household and you know what it's like. That the parents they're so welcoming, they're so warm. They ask you, how are you doing? They invite you in, they sit you down, they want to give you a plate of food. They're not thinking about, oh, you brought your friend over. No, they're like, why didn't you bring your friend over? How come I didn't know them earlier? Oh, it was great to meet them. They're wonderful. They're fabulous. Oh, it's nice to meet you. They don't make you feel bad, right? These kind of children grew up in a safe environment. Okay? All right? They grew up in a safe environment. And so the way that they interact with boundaries and attachment is very different. Right? When it comes to boundaries for the secure individual, the secure attachment, and the secure attachment is somebody who is believing that their relationships are safe and repairable. Secure attachment believe that relationships are safe and repairable. Very different to every other attachment. So the secure person goes, if we have a conflict, I'm not thinking you're about to abandon me. If we have a disagreement, I'm not thinking you're about to reject me. If you tell me no, I'm not about to manipulate you because you said no. That's your boundary, right? I may discuss it with you. I may have a conversation with you, but I'm not trying to manipulate you. The secure person, when it comes to, difficult times, they're still able to express their feelings of what their needs are. Let me give you an example, right? Let's say, for instance, you're having a hard day, right? You're having a hard day. You can see the person's having a hard day, but you have some needs, right? Let's say, for instance, like, you know that your partner had a hard day, but you also had a hard day, right? The secure person is still able to say, Joe, I know you had a hard day, but I would really like to be able to spend some time with you today. Maybe you don't have to spend it right now, but I want to spend some time with you a little bit later on today. They can see that other person's had a hard day, but they're not denying their needs. Some of you, and you know who you are, some of you, you read the body language, you read their energy, and you say, I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to stress them out any further. And you think you're doing them a favor, but you're robbing yourself. Yeah, you're robbing yourself. You're saying, oh, you saw they had a hard day, but you don't want to be the one that's going to, I don't want to add more stress to them. You're about to be stressed in about an hour or two because you're about to complain because you haven't told the truth about how you feel. You're about to stress them out anyway because you're about to complain about this tomorrow, right? You're about to complain about this later on in the week because it's built up and it's now resentment. So I need you to stop thinking that you're doing them a favor. You ain't doing nobody else a favor, okay? You are not doing them a favor. Stop thinking about them. See, secure people don't have to think about them. I'm not saying secure people are not aware of other people. Secure people are. They just don't make them the center of their own life. Why are you making them the center of your life? Secure people don't do that. They're able to understand that, yes, you are an important person, but they are the most important person in their life. Not in a narcissistic way, in a sense of, I am priority in my own life. I don't put anybody else above me in my own life. I can accommodate, I can appreciate, I can acknowledge, but you're not the focal point of my entire life. No, I don't project onto you. So if I have needs, I'm going to tell you. But I find a way to be able to express that in a way that's not trying to destroy you or hurt you or condemn you or judge you, right? So if I see you've had a hard day and maybe you need some time, I might tell you, say, hey, babe, you know what? I can see you've had a hard day. I want to give you a bit of time just to rest up. But I'd really like to spend some time with you a little bit later on this evening because I really want to be able to connect with you. A secure person is like, I'm not getting scared about telling you that I need this. A secure person will tell you, hey, you know what? Can I be honest with you? We haven't really spent much time the last few weeks, and I feel a little bit distant from you. I just want a little bit of reassurance from you that we're still in this together. It's still me and you, that you still care about me. See, the secure person isn't afraid to tell you that they need a little bit of reassurance. Some of you hear reassurance and you go, ugh, you want to throw up. Me, ask for reassurance. It can never be. Some of you are saying, literally, it can never be. Me speak up. You must be crazy. You're mad. Me speak up and tell you that I need reassurance. You'll be doing all of this. Secure people are not feeling like they're going to be embarrassed because they told people how they really feel about what they feel. Right? They're not feeling like that. Because they feel safe. You don't feel safe. I remember what we said about boundaries. What's boundaries again? SRV. Type in the chat for me if you remember what I said. What is boundaries? SRV. What are boundaries, please? Type in the chat for me so I know that you're actually with me and you're listening to me and you understand what I'm saying to you. Boundaries is SRV. What does it stand for? If you're with me, type in the chat so I know you're still with me. So I know that we're really working together here. We can go back and bring that again. I don't mind because we're going to teach today. Okay? All right. Thank you, Latifa. All right? Boundaries is SRV. It is safety, respect, and value. Okay? Safety, respect, and value. And the reason why we have values is to teach other people how we want to be treated. So you ain't going to say nothing because you're thinking about them and how they going to feel. You are teaching them that they are the center of your life, not the other way around. You are the center of your own life. Okay? Secure people understand that relationships are safe and repairable. So when they are expressing their boundaries to let you know that they don't like this or they like that, or they'll tell you, I can't do this, they're not thinking, they're not feeling bad about telling you, because really and truly what they understand is that they get it because they feel safe in that relationship. But you, when you tell it, you're like, I'm afraid of being abandoned. I'm afraid of being rejected. I'm afraid of being betrayed. If I don't do this, they'll betray me. If your mindset is, if I tell my boundaries that they're going to abandon me, we need better boundaries and we need to work on that. If your first thought is that when I tell my boundaries that they're going to leave me and reject me, we need better boundaries. We need to be able to institute that. If your thought process, if I can say boundaries, is that I'm afraid that they're going to reject me and not want to be around me no more, then you need to work on those boundaries. Stop looking at everybody else as a problem. You are the problem. Okay? Like I said, I'm not here to coddle nobody. I'm coaching today. So what I wanted you to do is I'm going to take it from A to Z. Okay? Boundaries, what is it? SRV. And if you remember what it is, type it in the chat. It's SRV. So, secure people. Okay? Secure people are good at healthy limits. At giving healthy limits, direct communication. Okay? All right? Healthy limits and direct communication. Okay, secure people. All right, and they often assume that others do the same, and that's the beauty of being secure. You think everyone else is doing it. You're not aware that that other people are not doing it. Okay, because they don't have the same attachment and security that you have. Okay, but secure people will often model boundary settings. Okay, for instance, they might say this: "Look, I can't today, but let's reschedule." This is security. When you say, listen, I can't do it today. I'm tired, but we can do this tomorrow. A secure person will tell you, listen, I won't lie to you. This thing, I don't want to do it. I really appreciate the invite, but I'm not coming. And you know when you really know that you're doing well is when you can say, hey, this isn't for me. I don't like it. Without going, but I'm really sorry about that. Really sorry. Really sorry. Like, yeah, I apologize about that. You know, I really wanted to come, but I'm sorry. So sorry. You're here, you're begging with the sorries. Stop it. Okay? Let's develop our boundaries to a place where we are no longer apologizing for being truthful to ourselves. Right? If you are constantly in a state of apology for being you and saying what you need, we still need to heal a little bit more. Because we should be able to say what we feel and what our truth is, provided we're not being rude or disrespectful, right? Without having to apologize because we're doing that. Does that make sense? Right? If you're still apologizing for saying to someone, telling your boss at work, I ain't gonna lie to you, I ain't coming in to do the extra hours. But I'm really, really sorry, boss. I'm sorry, this, sorry, that. Now, of course, if you're friends, we get it. If you've got a good relationship, we understand. A simple apologies. I'm really, really sorry. I can't do it this week. That makes sense. I get that. But if you know you're in an apology spiral where you keep apologizing and saying, I'm so sorry, you don't feel safe. That's why you're saying sorry that much. You're afraid of something. Okay? So we need to understand that perspective. Secure people are not out here apologizing willy-nilly because they're afraid of something. Not. Okay? Remember, their core belief is relationships can be safe and repairable. So, how do secure people handle relationships? Okay? Secure people handle relationships. This is how they handle it. Thank you very much, Erica. Thank you. Okay? How do secure people handle relationships? They set and respect boundaries without fear or guilt. Okay? They set and respect. They set their own and they're going to respect yours. So if you're going to tell me that you don't want to do it, I'm going to respect that boundary. I'm not trying to go past it. So don't play that game. Some of you like to play the game of, but I really wanted you to chase. Stop it. Okay, stop that. You set a boundary. You said no. You said you want to break up. You said you don't want this no more. Respect yourself. The secure person is going to respect you. You said you don't want it no more. I'm not fighting you. Okay? Secure will say, hey. You said you don't want it no more. I'm not about to fight you. You go ahead and take it. You set your boundaries. I respect it. Okay? Number 2, they view boundaries as a way to protect connection and not avoid it. Remember, boundaries, imagine when you were at school. Can you help with this, guys? When you were at school, did your school have fences? Just type in the chat for me. When you were at school, did your school have fences? When you were at school, did your building have walls? Some of you grew up in some particular schools who don't have fences. You don't have fences. We know you grew up in some particular school. I don't want to say what it is, but we know what school you grew up in, right? So we're saying yes. Okay, so your school had walls for the building and it had fences for the schoolyard or the back playground or whatever it was, right? Now imagine you had a building and no walls. Would you feel safe? Tap in the chat for me. If you were in a school and it had no walls, or would you feel safe? Imagine you were on the 3rd floor doing your class and there is no wall on the building. You wouldn't feel safe. So what is boundaries here? It's to keep you safe and to keep other people safe. So we have to look at boundaries not in a way of trying to dictate anything. It's about safety. It makes you feel safe when you have boundaries. Okay? It protects the connection. All right? It's about safety again. Safety, respect, value. Okay? So secure people can say no without the fear of rejection. Okay? All right? And they accept your no with grace. Can I say something? This goes out to both men and women. Some of you are not graceful when people say no. I'm one of those people. I'm working on it, but I realize I'm also somebody who needs to heal on this part, right? Some of us are not graceful at all. Let me tell you this now. Some of you, you're not about to manipulate them. No. That's not your one. No. Your one is, is that what we're doing? Oh, you're not going to help me. All right, cool. Now when they call you next week, you ignore their calls. You're that one. Yeah, you know. They said no to you. You said, all right, cool. It looked like you accepted it, but now you don't take their calls. Why they call it? Why don't they can call me? After you said no to me. Must think I'm a mug. So now you are punishing them because they said no. Do you see what's happening? They said no, and now you're punishing them. Oh, because you didn't shout and scream, you thought that you were clean. Oh, because you wasn't out here hollering, hooping, and doing all the madness, you thought you were, I'm decent. No, you weren't. Oh, maybe yours is not even to pick up the phone call. Oh, suddenly you're one of those people that go ghost. You disappear. They said no, and now you disappeared. We can't find you. We don't know where you are. You've disappeared for everybody. Hey. So now we have to search for where you are. Huh? Yeah? Or you're one of those people where it might look a bit more manipulative, where someone says no, and you take no, but now you are going to do things to hopefully change their mind. So they said no, and now you're baking them a pie. I'm being facetious, right? You're baking them a pie. You are, you're being nice to them. You're being extra friendly. They ask you for a favor, and you are up for it, not because you actually really want to do it, because you want to use it against them later on. Now, some of you are like this. There's the anxious people. You know who you are. Okay? All right? They said no to you, and you went round it and said, cool. They asked you for a favor. You only did it because you want to get the favor back. It's manipulation, guys. Okay? If they say no, accept it with grace. Now, you may need to go and self-soothe for a few minutes, but that's okay. Come back strong. You may need to go away and be like, you know what? I don't like the fact you said no, but I'm respecting it. Because one of the biggest pet peeves for both men and women is that when someone says no, they make them feel bad about the no. Who wants to be around people that when I say no, you make me feel bad? Okay? Do you really respect me? Right? Think about it. Right? Think about it. You know, I've said no, and you're gonna find a way around it by trying to manipulate me, by trying to do too much. No, come on, guys. Come on. Secure people don't do those things, okay? Because they realize that safety is important for them, okay? And they're not afraid of the rejection per se, okay? All right? So, understanding that secure people are assertive, not aggressive. This is very important, all right? So, again, with secure people, the only struggles that they have is that they feel that other people should have this skill already, but they don't realize that not everyone has those particular skills. So sometimes secure people can actually end up staying too long in a relationship that's more one-sided because they believe that it can be repaired. So not that necessarily they are trying to build a bear, but secure people can end up staying in relationships. I mean, sometimes they can stay in relationships longer than they need to because they think that you can get there. They're like, oh, you can get there. If I'm there, you can get there. Not realizing that actually a lot of people can't necessarily get there. Okay? So being assertive, not aggressive. And what that actually means, here's what it actually means. Okay? All right? Here's what it means. We want to be the lion, not the lamb, and not the beast. Okay? The lion knows when to lie down, and the lion knows when to hunt. It's not always hunting, okay? But it's never prey. It knows when to assert itself and also when to rest. The beast will always consume everybody else in its presence because it's aggressive. The lamb will always be passive and always be chewed. You want to become the lion. The difference between the passive and the aggressive and the assertive is this. Assertive people are able to assert themselves while simultaneously understanding about not trying to ruin your heart at the same time. Let me give you an example. Can you please be quiet, please? You're making a lot of noise. Can you shut up, blood? You're annoying me. Which one is assertive and which one's aggressive? I'll say it one more time. Could you please be quiet, please? You're talking a bit loudly. Can you shut up? You're making so much noise. Which one's assertive and which one's aggressive? The two are very different. Because actually, if you tell someone to shut up, how are they going to feel? Right? Someone would say that's what? What particular words are these? Fighting words. Right? The whole point of me being assertive is not to get a fight. For me, being assertive is about me to get my point across, what my needs are. So assertion is being able to put my point across directly, at the same time being able to understand I'm not trying to hurt you, ruin you, or trying to break you. So I'm going to deliver this in the right way. The passive person won't say it at all. You're making noise, but they're gonna look at you, hoping that you might change your mind. Making noises because they're hoping that you'd hear the noises and keep quiet, but they're not gonna say it. And then before you know it, they're ringing the fire alarm bell. I'm just kidding. You know what I mean? But they're gonna do something passive aggressive. And the reason why is because they're afraid of conflict. So when you are passive, you're afraid of conflict. The aggressive person likes conflict too much. The assertive person knows sometimes we may need to have conflict, but that conflict brings peace. So understand, when David fought wars, it was on behalf of Solomon to receive peace. But David had to also know when to fight wars. You don't just fight every single war. You understand what I'm saying to you? So assertive people know being assertive is about my needs, but it's about not destroying the other person in the process. Okay? All right? All right, cool. All right, so some of the ways, so also this as well, okay? Secure people express their needs gently, okay? Secure people express their needs gently when it comes to their boundaries. If you're one of those people that when you have to say, you're not about to disrespect me, I hear it, because you're not about to disrespect you. So I'm with you, okay? I'm with you. But if you're at the point where you're not about to disrespect me, when you're at that point, you're already almost in your aggressive state. Okay? You're not feeling very regulated at that point. Okay? All right? You're not at an even kill. That's not gentle. You see, what you have to realize is this. When you are balanced is when you are able to say your boundaries, but you're not going to say it in a way that harms the other person. It's about being assertive. But secure people are able to do that. They are gentle with it. They're still going to let you know, but they're not afraid that if I say it gently, you're about to take advantage of them. Because some of you think, if I don't tell the truth, if I don't say it as it is, they won't respect me. Yeah, you see, at that point, what you don't realize is you are at your aggressive state and you're at your aggressive point. You're wasting your energy and you're now agitated. Why? Why are they making you feel? Just say your point and say your needs. See, secure people can say that because they're not afraid that they're about to be taken advantage of. Right? They're not afraid of that. They're like, I've told you I'm going to tell you what my needs are, and I don't need to show and bring out my chest and let people know what I am. Okay? They don't need to do that. They will let you know, these are my boundaries. Okay? This is what I'm about. This is what I'm looking for. Hey, you know what? I can see that you're tired, but I'm also tired today, so I can't have this conversation with you today. We can have this tomorrow. You know what I'm saying to you? So that's what's happening, okay? Yes, but the panel it's not a panel today. It's going to be, if you have any questions, this is coaching day today, so if you have any questions, you'll be able to come up on a panel and ask your questions. It won't be a discussion today, okay? Yes, so an example of secure people setting boundaries, okay, all right, is I want to be there for you, but I also need rest tonight. Can we talk tomorrow? Okay, that's a great example of secure people setting boundaries. I value our relationship. Okay, so I'm going to be honest when something doesn't sit right with me. That's secure. They're like, I value our relationship. You see how they are addressing issue. So one part of this, I value our relationship, is a compliment. A lot of times, the compliment will disarm the very heavy conversation. Many of you don't want to have these difficult conversations because you're afraid of the backfire. The thing is going to go wayward. It's not going to, they're going to be frustrated. They're going to be hurt. It's going to be a lot. And I hear it. One of the ways to disarm the other person in a conversation is a compliment. Oh, no. You ever done that before? You ever seen someone who's arguing with you and you say, you know what? And you see men do this a lot and women get annoyed. But you can't help yourself. Now, of course, if he consistently does this all the time, it's going to be annoying. But when you're angry and he says, you know what, you look beautiful when you're angry, You see how it throws you off. Now, of course, if he says that every week, you're going to get annoyed, okay? But the compliment throws you off. Why? Because you weren't expecting it, number one. But number two, also because it's hard to fight against somebody who's saying positives to you, okay? The Bible actually says that heap hot coals on your enemy. How? By showing them love. So when you speak love and you speak positivity, it's hard now to want to fight you. You know what I'm saying to you? So when we are stating our boundaries, one of the ways that we can actually do this to soften the blow is to say, I value our relationship. I like our connection. I appreciate your time. Before we state what we state and say, so I'm going to be honest when something doesn't sit right with me, or to say, I want to be there for you, but I also need rest tonight. Can we talk about this tomorrow? You know what I'm saying to you? For the mandem, listen, for those of you who are going to, get married soon, your wife maybe wanted to have a last minute conversation in bed and you might be tired. You're going to have to say, listen, babe, I love our conversations. I love when you tell me about some stories. But today I'm very tired. Can I get some rest tonight? Can I get some rest tonight? Who can argue that? You know what I'm saying to you? Who can argue that? You tell your babe, listen, babe, I love our conversation. I love when you talk about those stories. I love when you break down all those things, But tonight I'm tired and I want to be able to give my best when I'm listening to you. Now I'm not going to do that. I'm going to fall asleep. So is it right if I just I'm just going to take a beat today. Right? No one's going to argue that because you are respectful and you also let them know ahead of time. Because I know about you, but there ain't nothing more annoying than when you tell a story and someone falls asleep. So again, I'm giving it as an example, as an example there, right? Another example is, I need some time to think, but I love to reconnect after, right? So maybe something is on your mind and you do want to think. So say, hey, I need some time to think, but I love to reconnect after. Yeah? I care about you, and I need to. I care about you, but I need to prioritize my rest tonight. You know, you know what I'm saying to you. Beautiful ways of being secure, okay, and being able to express the viewpoints as well. Okay, all right. Okay, so we're gonna deal with anxious people and boundaries, okay? Anxious people and boundaries. As I said before, anxious children grow up in households where the parent was exhibiting unpredictable or insecure, I should say, rather, sorry, not insecure, sorry, was given inconsistent caregiving, okay? So the caregiver was attentive and nurturing, while sometimes they were distant, they were sometimes neglectful, unavailable, they were just inconsistent, right? So for instance, you might have a parent who was actually, you might have parents who love you and care about you, may support you on some days, and then there's other days where they're just like indifferent, or they're like kind of away from you. Sometimes it could be even a parent who loves you and cares about you,